This is Robotron 2084 week here on Classic Game Room HD. And if I had it my way, there would be a national holiday called Robotron 2084 Day, where we'd all get a whole stack of quarters and run out to the arcade, skip work or school, whatever, play Robotron 2084, grab a few beers, and then laugh about how much this game just kicked our ass. The version that we're looking at now is the Williams Arcade's Greatest Hits disc for the PlayStation 1. I've had this game for a long time. And there's Joust. We used this exact game to play and capture the footage for the original Classic Game Room review of Joust that we did back in the year 2000. And as I said then, this game is a tremendous value because you get a number of great games. You get Robotron 2084, Joust, Defender 1, Defender 2, Sinistar, and Bubbles. I'm not as familiar with Sinistar and Bubbles, but for the other games, this is worth every penny because not only do you get the games, but you get some great interviews, you get information on the development and the design of the games.
What happens is the brains, their algorithm, which was supposed to be seeking out the closest human.
Here we're looking at an interview with Eugene Jarvis. I think previously I had given Eugene Jarvis all the credit for designing Robotron 2084. But it looks like these guys worked together, Larry DeMar and Eugene Jarvis, and I'm sure there were some other people in there, so all these guys, and I'm sure the whole team deserves a lot of credit for developing this tremendous game, Robotron 2084.
Off the top of my head, the Stargate one I have written down.
It's the Robotron.
The Robotron one, okay, it's three, each of the sequences are three combinations of buttons being pressed. And you have to do combination one, and then within a quarter of a second.
I've watched all these interviews, and these interviews are great. They give you some really nice insight into the game designers and the development process, and also some neat behind-the-scenes tips and tricks and stuff. This disc also has some conceptual artwork, information on other games like Defender 2, and some sell sheets they would have used for the video games back in the 80s. This is the most comprehensive version of Robotron 2084 I've seen, and it even gives you the story here. Inspired by his never-ending quest for progress, in 2084 man perfects the Robotrons, a robot species so advanced that man is inferior to his own creation. Guided by their infallible logic, the Robotrons conclude the human race is inefficient and therefore must be destroyed. Which sounds an awful lot like the plot of The Terminator. You are the last hope of mankind. Due to a genetic engineering error, you possess superhuman powers. Your mission is to stop the Robotrons and save the last human family. That's the part I really never got. The last human family apparently has a never-ending supply of hundreds of humans. Anyway, goes on to explain all the different Robotrons, the Hulk Robotrons, which I personally find to be a pain in the ass and always run into them, the spheroids and quarks, which are the hardest, and I hate them. I have nightmares about those things. Here's my favorites. The ingenious brain Robotrons that possess the power to reprogram humans into sinister progs. Graphically, this version is nice. It plays well on the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and even the budget model of the PlayStation 3 plays this game very well, which is what I captured this footage on, which is nice that you get to kick back with the wireless controller. The only drawback to this version of Robotron 2084 is that because it was designed for the PlayStation 1, you use the buttons and the digital pad on the PlayStation controller rather than the analog sticks. So as you might imagine, you move with your left thumb and you fire with your right finger on the buttons. Obviously, the original arcade joysticks were far superior to this, but you still get by playing with the PlayStation controller fairly well. The pacing of the game is difficult and challenging, like always. And there's not a whole lot that separates this from the Xbox Live version once you get past all the special features on the disc. In fact, you'll notice my score on this game and the score in the Xbox Live review of Robotron 2084 are about identical because that's really all the farther I can get. I always get wiped out on the level with those goddamn tanks. have a lot of practice to do to get better at Robotron 2084, and this is one of my favorite games, and one that I am certainly not a master at, so I like to keep coming back for more punishment from the evil Robotrons. Here we go. I don't know what the trick is to destroying these things. Like, if one of you guys out there listening is a Robotron 2084 master, could you please respond and tell me how to kill these damn tank robots? Because I always aim for the balls. It always sounds weird when I say that. When the wave starts, the screen is filled with the bouncing balls. The balls eventually turn into tanks. And then the tanks shoot out a whole bunch of other balls. So in the end, my character is surrounded by balls. And oddly enough, it's those balls that eventually lead to his death and me losing the game with yet another pathetic score of 130-some thousand points. This week on Classic Game Room HD, we've seen Robotron 2084 for the Xbox Live, for the Atari 7800, and now for the PlayStation 1. There's one remaining version of Robotron to go through this week, and that's the N64 version, which is one of my favorites. It's not a direct clone of the original, like these games are. It's a revamped version that they made for the N64 using sort of a three-dimensional environment, adding in special weapons, and it's a lot of fun. In the end, it makes you feel better by saying that you are a Robotron hero. I don't know how much of a hero I could be with 35,000 points or whatever I got. To me, that seems more like you are a Robotron bitch. The Robotrons made you their bitch. Fortunately, there's another game on this disc. That game is Joust. And you know what that means? Even if you're a bitch at Robotron, you can still be the champion of bird ass.